Refugees complain that revamped shipping containers simply aren't good enough for them, whilst tens of thousands of homeless British people rot in the streets. That's what we'll be discussing today on the Hogcast. Okay, in a moment we're going to watch a video, but first the housekeeping. If you could, please subscribe to the channel if you find this video informative or entertaining or enlightening. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss another video, and if you could, like the video and maybe even leave a comment in the comment section, as that really helps me out. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so we're about to watch the footage, which obviously comes courtesy of Sky News. We're going to commentate on what is happening here in a way that you would never get from, of course, the biased mainstream media. Now, if I didn't tell you that this was filmed in a modified shipping container, which comes courtesy of the taxpayer, I might add, you might think he's in a small flat, because that is exactly what this looks like, a small flat or an apartment. Now, bear in mind that they have unfortunately contributed nothing to society. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. They've contributed nothing at all to society. Everything you're about to see comes courtesy of the British taxpayer. There is no thanks whatsoever. I, of course, would like you to draw attention to the tablet computer in the background, which, of course, is paid for via benefits. Benefits that are, of course, meant to be for living expenses and things like that, your basic day-to-day needs. But the people that have came here to seek a refuge can, of course, afford the latest and greatest gadgets. Anyway, let's get on with the video.
Inside one of these containers mentioned in the Children's Commissioner's report. This container, this family, they've been living here for the last 9 months. We're going to have a word with them in the next few moments or so, but we just want to show you around and give you a feel of what it's like living in an environment like this. This is the kitchen area. They've got a microwave, a sink. And if I just take you around here, they've got their fridge. Not enough space in the kitchen for the fridge. This is where they store their clothes. Unable to get a wardrobe inside a container like this, so they have to store their clothes in it. Just going to take you into a bedroom. This is Mom's bedroom. This is where she sleeps with her 2.5-year-old son. Again, these are all their belongings. They have no space to bring chest of drawers in or wardrobe, so they have to just get their stuff, in corners.
I'm sorry, but you can fit a small chest of drawers in there. You can. They've piled all of that up. You can fit something in there. Let me tell you something. I was going to wait until the end of the video to explain this, but I'll say it now. I've been homeless. I've lived on the streets. When I was younger, when I was 19 years old through to the age of 22, I lived on the streets in Britain. I lived in temporary housing in Britain. I lived in YMCAs. I lived in hostels, okay? I know, yeah? Okay, you can fit it in there. And not only that, let me tell you something, right? The hostels... The hostels are a lot worse than this that she's in, and not only that, you never see people like her homeless on the streets. They are bumped immediately up to the top of the list, the housing list, every kind of list you can think of. They are bumped straight up to the top, okay?
The children's bedroom is just on the left right here, and this is where all the children, all between the ages of 2, 10 and 13 and 11 years old, all sleeping again.
Okay, so it's a mother with 4 children. Now, the Sky News reporter has already contradicted himself. He said that the mother sleeps with a 2.5-year-old in the main bedroom, the mother's bedroom. Now, to make this sound even grimmer, even more horrible, he has contradicted himself and says that all 4 children being paid for by the taxpayer are in the same room.
Nowhere to put their school uniforms, so they all have to remain in bags. So let's get an understanding of what it's like for these families who live in these conditions. Lulu Abubaker and her daughter Latifa, you've been here, as I've said, for about 9 months or so. You live with your young son. He has special needs.
Yes.
Just tell us
on that special needs issue, if you can hear, probably you've heard it in the background, that wailing noise, that is the son. Now, I'm not going to dig too much or expound too much on this particular issue because the video isn't about it, but if you do some research yourself, and there's been numerous documentaries about this issue, but in this particular group of people, there's a very high level of inbreeding. I'm afraid it's the truth. Look, it's the truth, and it's been going on for a long time, and it leads to a lot of bad building up in the particular group, and you have a lot of children being born with deformities or mental or emotional impairments.
Complexities and how difficult it is for you.
Okay, living here is very, very difficult for any type of family, especially me having a special needs child who's my older son. He's almost 13. He's got severe autism, learning difficulty, has no danger awareness, and he has not spoken yet. For the council to choose this kind of property to put family with a special needs child, knowing that my son is a very active child, he needs to run around, he needs to, let out his steam. This place is too small for him to let out his steam.
And we get a sense of just how small it is, but I just wondered if you could give our viewers, perhaps the scope of just how difficult it is with 4 children.
It's very difficult.
So what I probably don't need to tell you this, but what the news reporter there, the biased mainstream media news reporter I might add, he's doing, he is really expounding on this issue because he wants to trigger an emotional response in the general public. He wants to really get that response going in you, so you stop thinking rationally and critically about it, and you really focus on the fact that these are so hard done. These people, they're so oppressed.
Because as you can see, there's no place even we can call a sitting room. The place is a shipping container. This is a cargo container. This is not for human being. This is a mental torture, more like it. Because more living...
And there it is, the mental torture accusation. Now, the reason why you're having to be put into a container instead of thrown out onto the street is because so many people have moved to this country in such a short time that we cannot build enough houses to house all of you. You have so many children in such a short space of time that we cannot build new houses, new schools, new hospitals to accommodate everyone. Not only that, believe it or not, and this is going to shock. If I was speaking directly to the woman on the screen, I suppose this would shock you, madam, but we have a right to exist as well.
It's not for families, for nobody. Maybe for a normal bachelor, they can go up for temporary accommodation. They told us it was a temporary accommodation, but from the temporary, it became a long-term thing.
Leading Council have said that this is one of the ways in which they're trying to tackle a homeless crisis on their hands.
No.
Perhaps a lot of people say it's better than being on the streets.
Oh, yeah, we are just one step close to being in the street. People in the street.
No, you're not. Now, I remember earlier I said about I've been homeless. I know you've got your own self-contained... Yeah, it's a shipping container. I appreciate that. But it's self-contained. You don't live in shared accommodation with people you've never met. You don't live in shared accommodation with drug addicts, with hypodermic syringes laying everywhere. You have self-contained security in what was once now a first world country, but it's very fast becoming not a first world country.
We are getting air. We are in a box. We're in a container. Container is not for human being. It's for you to storage things.
Well, you get a sense just there how difficult it is for Lulu. Latifa, you're worried about your safety because you said that you've injured yourself whilst being inside this container.
Yes, on the hob I've burnt my arm, and...
On the hob you've burnt your arm, and let me tell you something. What does the size of the house have to do with burning yourself on a hob? Anyone can do that in any sized house. You can't even put a figure on the number of young people that hurt themselves accidentally on hobs or on anything else. You were trying to cook something, or you were trying to assist your mother, or whatever you were doing, and you burned yourself. Now, I have a very sickening feeling that this is somehow going to be spun into, you should give us compensation. Look at this small container you've put us in. This is a breach of our human rights, and we want compensation.
The stairs are extremely unsafe because when it rains it gets wet and you would trip over and hurt your knee.
You were telling me...
You can trip over and hurt your knee on any staircase. That is completely irrelevant to the place that you are living. All places have hobs, all places have stairs, either inside or outside. You are going to approach, at some point in the United Kingdom, with its weather, you are going to approach slippery stairs at some point. It is not a breach of your human rights.
Earlier, just how embarrassing you find it when you have to tell your friends where you live.
Yeah, because it's not like a normal home. It feels nothing like home. It's just the same as homeless people, but with 4 walls and a door.
And that...
Well, then you're not homeless, are you?
Those points is exactly what the Children's Commissioner has flagged in her report. She says that these conditions are cramped and they're not fit. Ealing Council, meanwhile, has said this is the most cost-effective way. Okay, so that's the end of the video. As you can see, these far left organisations that just exist as talking heads and mouthpieces for the Marxists and the globalists say that this isn't fit for human habitation, etc., etc. Of course, you could give your own house up, but you won't do that. But the council say, of course, it is the most cost-effective, and it is. Now, for those of you outside of the United Kingdom watching this, you probably heard them say Ealing, which is a place in London. London has become a cesspit. London is overcrowded. London is disgusting. There are some beautiful places in London, don't get me wrong, but London cannot continue to take in the majority of the third world's refugee population. It can't do it. You've got entire swathes of Africa and Arabia all going to little old London. You can't do it. And now, when is the last time anyone said thank you? Okay, free thinkers, well, they are clearly not happy being here, so what we shall do is now we shall look at the competition. We shall see what people from the Middle East, their own brethren, their own kin, we shall see what they do for their own kin. Okay, so this is one of the Syrian refugee camps in Lebanon, and as you can see right off the bat, it is extremely different. In fact, it is the polar and exact opposite of the cosy, refurbished shipping container that we found in London. Here we can see the freezing cold weather, we can see freezing refugees, we have flea-ridden old blankets that nobody wants, they're ankle deep in water, they are going back to their tarpaulin, breezy, drafty tents to eke out a meagre existence at the hands of their own brethren. So let's watch the video.
المي لا تزيد عن نص متر في الأراضي في البراكيات والخيم اللي موجودين فيها. فنحن مثل ما قال ظروف الحياة أجبرتنا أن نكون في الوضع هذا، أجبرتنا لظروف المشاكل والحروب اللي صارت في سوريا.
Okay, you probably don't need me to expound any further or to explain any further that the differences between the two are like night and day. Okay, free thinkers, I'm going to leave you with these words of wisdom. It is not wrong or bigoted for a country to put its own citizens first. If it is okay for the likes of this woman to put her own people first, then it surely follows that it is okay for everyone else to do the same thing. There is only a finite amount of money available to any government, and successive British governments spent our available pot of money quite some time ago. It's not recommended to bite the hand that feeds you. The grass is always greener on the other side. And finally, ask what you can give to the country, not what the country can give to you. Thank you. Take care.